where we're going to grab whatever you have that slides. So I'm going to hope this slides on this mat. Not, I'm going to slide it on the carpet. In fact, I'll probably just do that because it's not sliding too great on the mat. One of the things that we find is a lot of us are over flexible in the hamstrings, even though they feel stiff, or we're weak in the hamstrings, causing them to stiffen to compensate for that weakness. Another thing that we know is the core can be weak, causing the hamstrings to grip. With all that being said, what you're going to do is get to know your hamstrings before you stretch them. First thing we're going to do is a simple bridge pose. Bring your feet a little bit further away from your hips than usual. Lift your foot up and dig your heels into the ground. And even just doing that, if you touch your hamstrings, you feel them contract. Those are your hamstrings. To create a little bit of work, the first step is see if you can lift the hips up. Not too high, and you're pulling your heels towards your butt cheeks. You may even get a little crampy there. And release. And then lift and pull the heels towards the glutes. And release. So if that's good for you, continue doing that. If that seems too easy, this is where we use these little discs. You lift up your hips and slide the disc out. Drop your hips down and slide them back. Lift up the hips, slide them out. Drop the hips and slide them back. Again, this is to wake up your hamstrings before you do the stretch. They're going to be so ready for the stretch. If this is too easy, one-legged slide. So lift the hips up, slide, drop it down and pull it back. Lift the hip up, slide, drop it down and pull it back. So try those. See which one works best for you. And pull it back. Woo! I can already tell which side of my leg is weaker. My left hamstring is weaker than my right. So it needs some work. When you're done with about 10 repetitions, just hug it in. Maybe do some circles. So if they weren't cramping, they definitely were talking to you, I'm sure. So this makes us ready for our forward fold. Let's move into a standing forward fold. It's one of the more challenging stretches for the hamstrings, but now that your hamstrings are nice and warm and you know where they are, it's going to be a little easier for you. Just stand up. It's a hip hinge, just like our seated forward fold. So first I want you to practice your hip hinge. That's bending at the hips, keeping your back flat, starting with your knees bent. That's going well. See if you can hip hinge with your knees straighter. Notice when we hinge forward that our weight shifts backward. My toes even want to come off the floor. As we move into our forward fold, we're going to seek to keep our weight from our heel to our toes and not let our weight shift back too far. So start from Tadasana. Inhaling, we reach up. Exhaling, we hinge, forward fold. Once you find that forward fold, see if your back is flat. Let your head go. Check to make sure your hips are directly over your ankles. So the center of your hip should be directly over the center of your ankle. That means there's weight into your toes. If you're fairly folded forward, grab your ankles or your big toes. If this is difficult for you and you're only right here, no problem, just be right here. Now comes the active part. Pull your heels towards your buttocks like you're going to squat. And then release, let it go. Pull the heels towards the buttock as if I was going to squat down into chair pose, but I'm not. I'm just holding isometrically. And release. Once more, pulling the heels towards the buttocks. And release. Even though I'm in a nice deep fold wherever you are, don't be lazy and flop out. Continue to squeeze your thigh muscles in the front. And then pull your heels towards your buttocks as you fold into the forward fold. Let the head go, but keep action in the muscles around those hamstrings. Breathe. Slowly release, bend the knees, roll slowly up. Take your time, hands on the thighs. Back to Tadasana. Beautiful. And then breathe.